All right, race fans, welcome to TurnLeftTV. Be ready for some high-speed action tonight. Step on the gas. All right, race fans, welcome to Richmond. This is TurnLeftTV, and I'm your host, Heath Johnson. The High Octane Racing League IndyCar Series finishes out the season at a short track. It's Richmond International, race number 10. It's the finale. 267 laps at a very, very fun short track. Perfect for IndyCars. Who's got the recipe for victory here at Richmond today? Only one way to find out, and that is hang out right here on TurnLeft TV. Well, some IndyCar action at a short track. Perfect for IndyCars. Good wide short track. 267 laps here today at Richmond. It's all live right here for you. All right, hey, thank you so much for coming in to TurnLeftTV. Appreciate you being here. Man, a little bit of a light crowd here tonight for the final race of the season. So, not sure what's going on. Maybe there's another series racing today. So about 4.5 minutes left in the practice session before we hit qualifications. So Richmond International, it's 3/4 of a mile, 1.21 kilometers in length, 200 miles tonight. That's 267 laps. Race number 10, the final race of the season. I'm your host, Heath Johnson, the commentator, the broadcaster. Going to be a little bit of a driver here coming up next week. I'm going to be racing in a series on Tuesday, so I'm not going to live stream that. I promise you that. But hey, thanks for coming in and watching this race tonight. We'll take a look at the track here at Richmond. Again, 3/4 of a mile. D-shaped oval, 14 degrees of banking in the turns, 8 degrees on the front stretch, and 2 degrees on the back stretch. You see that front stretch there continuously turning. So very interesting track. I think this is a heck of a lot of fun. It really is. I did a lot of laps here at Richmond, not only in the stock cars, but also the Indy cars, and it is a fun track. I want to thank you for coming in and watching the YouTube channel here on TurnLeftTV. Appreciate your patronage. Peace to everybody out there. Hope everybody's being cool to one another, being kind to one another. A little balmy, a little muggy here in Indiana today. Good day to be in the air conditioning and broadcasting a race for you. I'll be racing a little bit later tonight, also in the Stock Car Series. And we got a special event coming up for you tomorrow. A preseason race in the GT3 Series on Sunday. Hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, and please give it a little love tap there if you're checking out the stream for the first time. Peace to everybody out there, and thanks for coming in. Please hit that thumbs up button and let me know you were here. Appreciate folks coming out. Looks like Ricky Emerson's already in the chat session, so good to see him out here tonight. Should be a fun one here at Richmond. Got a couple minutes left in the practice session. coming up on Saturday, July the 3rd. That's next week. Kicking off the High Octane Racing League GT3 Series season. 50-minute race, Monza. Starting at 1 p.m. practice time, 2 p.m. quals, and 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be race. 50-minute race from Monza in the High Octane Racing League GT3 Series. And that'll be live right here on TurnLeftTV. I do not know what the fuel window is. Ricky Emerson's asking me here. We'll check it out. I don't know. It's more than 10 laps. We'll find out during the drivers' meeting here. These guys know. I don't actually check that stuff, so I probably should, man. I need a team of writers for me and graphics people. If you're looking to apply for that position, let me know. Tonight's race is brought to you by EliteHostingUSA.com, your place to go for an rFactor 2 server. 3 self-managed server packages available for you to choose from. That's EliteHostingUSA.com. Not only you in the United States, but also providing servers throughout the world. So if you're interested, no matter where you are in the world, unless you're on Antarctica or something, that might be different, but check them out. So it looks like we're going to the qualification session. We'll take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. And I think it's pretty much done and over with as far as who's going to win this championship. Ricardo Almeida with 5 wins this season really has been the car to beat. Even when he gets into trouble, man, you never count him out. Always being able to work his way back through traffic and somehow get that car back to the front. Alexander Meshkov, second in points. I think that the battle will be for the second position. I don't think Dan Richter's actually going to be here tonight. He's got 2 wins this season, but he's missed quite a few races. He's got life commitments, how that goes. But Alexander Meshkov, he's got a win this season. So definitely a great season for him. One of our passionate Russian drivers. Denis Lysenko, 4th in points. Claudio Bardelli Jr., 5th in points. And I think he probably will move up here. He's here this evening. Stephen Miller, 6th. Zach Casey, 7th. Nikolai Bezhukov, 8th in points. Eugene Zagladko, 9th. And Givaldo Spindola is 10th. He's here tonight as well. So that's the point standings coming into tonight's race. Givaldo looks like he is I'm not sure if he's going to qualify his car or what the scoop is here for Givaldo. He's coming down pit lane. He's exiting pit lane. We'll see. Well, it looks like Givaldo coming out on the track here to do some qualifications. His out lap, so 10th in points coming into tonight's race. He's off the pace there a little bit, so I'm not sure what's going on with Givaldo. Take a look at that Eugene Zagladko. So the time to beat Eugene Zagladko, 16.123. P1. Right now, only 7 drivers here. So a little bit of a light crowd here tonight. Might have a few more as we get into warm-up. We do have 10-minute warm-up sessions. Some guys participating in some other leagues here today. So Zagladko, the top time, 16.099 is his time. Meshkov currently second on the grid. Salviev is third. .585 is now Meshkov the top time. Take a look at Alexander Meshkov making his qualification attempt. .585 is lightning fast. 7.64 is his second lap time. Bardelli Jr. with his qualification attempt. 16.163 is that first lap time for him. Third on the grid here so far. .120 still P3. P3 for him. Stephen Miller up on the track. See where Stephen Miller falls here with his first qualification lap. I think this is a very fun track, man. I've been on the with the IndyCars on Richmond quite a bit. Looked at that P2 for Stephen Miller, 15.952, and I think it really is one of the more fun tracks. It's just a shame that the IndyCars really do not race here anymore. They used to race at Richmond. It was a great, I think it was the Richmond 300, if I'm not mistaken. It was a great race. So 15.814 second lap time there for Stephen Miller. .644 on that one. Getting closer, inching closer to Alexander Meshkov's time. 6.77. So currently P2. And I gotta be wondering here, as we start to think about who's going to qualify, it's that guy right there. Is he going to qualify? Is he going to start in the back for a little fun? Guess that answers our question. Ricardo Almeida. So he's going to get that car out and make a qualification attempt here in the 28 car. So we'll see here, Almeida getting ready to put in this first lap. 15.323, new top time there. 28 car says, that's good enough for me. Go out there, burn one lap out, and get to the top of the grid, and I think I'll go back to the pits and have myself a milkshake. We said that's acceptable only if you say, only, Ricardo, if you sing, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Just kidding. All right, Ricardo Almeida looks like he's the top time here, so good run there for him. Meshkov's going to start second, Miller third, Zagladko fourth, Bardelli Jr. fifth, Salviev sixth. Givaldo Spindola starts in the seventh position. Again, we may have some more guys joining us here, as I think some guys are actually participating in a GT3 series race today elsewhere, so we may see them come out during the warm-up session. Let's hope so. So a couple minutes left in the qualification session, although it is officially over, and we'll be throwing up the banner and giving these guys a driver's meeting here. Coming up a little later tonight, if you're interested in doing some stock car racing, the final race of the season, Pocono Raceway in a high Octane Racing League Saturday Night Thunder. Race 10, the final race, 80 laps here tonight. Who's got the answer for Ricky Emerson? He has got a lot of wins this season, but he's on a string of wins. Can anybody beat Ricky Emerson here this evening in the Saturday Night Thunder? So we're going to be muting the my broadcast part of it. I'll put a video up here, or not a video, but the banner up and a song, and we're going to have a little driver's meeting. So I appreciate your patience. All right, we're back at it there. Thanks so much. I had to give those guys the driver's meeting. Not normally my forte, but I'm getting better at it. I did the driver's meeting, and the word is that somewhere around 110 laps or so, it looks like the tires are going to be what give out first, so you're probably not going to be able to do a full fuel run. Looks like the tires are going to be the key factor there. So somewhere around 100, 110 laps or so, you'll see the pit window. We might actually see some pretty good racing here with them green flag pit stops tonight. You can see, man, you get around this track in a hurry. This is a lot of fun, man. Like I said, this track used to be on the IndyCar schedule. Fantastic one. They've gone a lot more to road courses now. So, it is what it is, but very fun track. That's kind of why I put it on here, because I am one of those hardcore oval guys. Michael Brooks asking, good to see Michael, man. Might be out there on the track with him here this week. This next week coming up. Michael's asking, why is IndyCar using so few ovals the last couple of seasons? I don't know. They're just going to more road course schedule, and not really sure. Maybe they felt like some of the ovals they've been on. I mean, there have been just some horrific crashes. I mean, like at Texas and Vegas, some of those cookie cutter tracks. You've just seen some really, really terrible crashes. So maybe kind of that move to get away from that, because you get a really massive high speed, and then of course those cars get airborne up into the catch fence, and things get pretty dicey, man. So we've seen some. I know Vegas had, I think Dan Weldon might have been killed at Vegas. I know it kind of runs contrary to what you would think, because Indy is obviously high speed, and we've seen some fair number of fatalities there at Indy, but I don't know. I mean, I really can't answer that. It's a very good question. Wish they would do more ovals. This isn't really that high speed, so couldn't imagine there being as much danger at this track as you would see at say a Vegas or a Texas. So we have 4 minutes left to go in the warm-up session before we get this bad boy started. So it does look like 7 drivers going to be about it here today. That's too bad. The High Octane Racing League Bushwhacker Series will be in action next Friday, July the 2nd, from Daytona. Man, this will be a massive race here. 70 laps. Season number 3, race number 3. Daytona International in the stock cars, the Xfinity Series cars. And that is going to be a fantastic one. This is a track where I think a lot of guys have a shot of winning, where otherwise, some of those guys might not be as much or have as good a chance to win, but at Daytona, pretty much anybody does have that chance of winning. You just got to keep the fenders on the car and keep yourself in the draft, have good pit stops, find a partner to work with. So Daytona coming your way Friday, July the 2nd, right here on TurnLeftTV at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Going to take a look at the GT3 series. We'll take a look at the Zandvoort track we're going to run tomorrow. So if you're interested in doing some preseason racing, 50-minute race, full Monty here on this too, by the way, coming up tomorrow. So we're going to be racing this series on Saturday, but we're going to do a little preseason race just to get things tuned up here on June the 27th. That's tomorrow. 50-minute race from Zandvoort, the GP track, the 2020 version, starting at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 50-minute race in the High Octane Racing League GT3 Series preseason. Come on out and join us. So about 40 seconds or so left here in the warm-up session. Okay, I'm going to go to the contrarian pick. My pick to win this is Meshkov. So that's who I got to win this race. I'm not saying I'm in the know or anything, but that guy seems to, he comes out of nowhere sometimes, man, and picks up the win. So we'll see. He loves these ovals. Of course, Ricardo Almeida, I think, is the favorite, but I think Meshkoff's got a good chance of winning this. Don't forget about Stephen Miller, too. He's got a good chance of winning this race. All right, boys and girls, it is that time. It's Richmond International, 267 laps here tonight. It's race number 10. The final race of the season. We'll get this bad boy kicked off here. All right, we'll take a look at the starting order here tonight. Ricardo Almeida starts in P1. Alexander Meshkoff outside pole there in the 7 car. Stephen Miller starts in 3rd. Eugene Zaglotko starts in the 4th position. Starting in 5th is Claudio Bardelli Jr. Alexei Salviev starts in the 6th position. Givaldo Spindola starts in the 7th position. All right, guys are going to have to pit going into turn 3, and then, of course, coming around turns 1 and 2 after they pit to rejoin the racing surface. Rule is that you warn the drivers before you're going to pit. 1 lap before you pit, you announce that you're going to be pitting so you don't cause an accident. Restarts will be single file. Ricardo Almeida starts in P1. Meshkoff outside pole there in the 7 car. Not a very technical track, very fun track, I think, and you should see some really, really good racing here.
Green flag, go, go, go.
All right, to green, here we go. Something's going on there. We got Zaglotko is shown as the leader here. So something's going on here. We'll have to get to the bottom of what's going on here with Eugene Zaglotko. Why it says he's got a 9-second lead. But we'll keep it that way. I was going to end up correcting that, but it looks like Heath took off there and was leading the field. So very interesting. Zaglotko in the pits now, taking some service. Now Ricardo Almeida, the race leader. Stephen Miller in 2nd. Meshkoff in 3rd. Bardelli Jr. is 4th. Salviev shown in the 5th position. Took me a while to figure out what was going on. I think Zaglotko might have just come out and maybe took off and Instead of waiting for the pace car, took off around the pace car. Got a lap ahead of everybody, so now he's come down pit lane, sort of rectified that situation, but now down a lap here. So he looks like he might have gotten a penalty, and rightfully so. So Ricardo Almeida, our leader, Stephen Miller, shown in the second position. We'll take a look at Stephen Miller here, shown in P2. This will be a good race for him if he ends up finishing the second position. Starting to close in a little bit on Almeida. Meshkov shown in the third position. Take a look at Alexander Meshkov. Bardelli Jr. shown in the fourth spot. You guys sort of spread out here a little bit, so a lot of room to race here with just 7 drivers, but this track, you see Almeida now starting to roll up on Zagladko. Actually, that's Givaldo Spindola, and to put him a lap down, we have a yellow flag here. So yellow flag, 13 laps in. Man, I got a little cocky there, didn't I? So just as Spindola went a lap down, we get a yellow flag here.
That's me, Alexander.
Yes.
We'll see what happened. All right, we'll take a look and see what happened here.
Time for lead lap cars.
So it looks like Meshkov gets a little bit up. He gets out of the groove coming off the turn and spins that car, makes a little contact with the inside wall. So a self-spin there, it looks like. Right there, and man, hard contact with that inside wall. And looks like Ricardo Almeida on pit lane here taking some service.
Pit road will be open this time.
Alexis Salviev shown in the second position. Stephen Miller third. Givaldo Spindola fourth. Claudio Bardelli Jr. shown in the fifth position. Meshkov is on pit lane taking some service here. Going to get some damage repaired on that machine.
It'll be 1 to go this time by.
So it looks like we're getting the word from Nikolai Bezrikov that there were a lot of endurance races. Nürburgring, 12-hour Nürburgring was going on this weekend, so that probably knocked some guys out. So that's a little shame, but we'll see him out in the GT3 series, I hope. Be good to see him back out there again. So they're going to do double file restarts because it looks like we've started this thing with the stock car rules plugin. So Almeida will start
flag,
in
go, go,
P1,
go.
back to green. Almeida there scraped the wall just a little bit. Go on board here, Ricardo Almeida. Is he picking him up and putting him down right now? Big lead for him. There's a Bardelli 5.3 seconds back in the second position. Salviev in third, Miller in the fourth spot, Meshkov in fifth. Take a look at Stephen Miller shown in the third spot. Shown in fourth, it looks like.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Need a yellow flag here. Another yellow flag. It looked like maybe Meshkov might have come around here in that 7 car, and that might be his second caution flag, unfortunately for him. We'll see what happened here. Oh, man, hard contact right there. So it looks like Meshkov, man, that was a hard lick right there into the wall. Very, very hard lick here for Meshkov coming off the turn. He just gets that car, snaps around on him right there, and he's smacking the wall. And then over on his lid. So Albardelli Jr. now, sure it's showing, Almeida shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Bardelli Jr. shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second position. Shown in first, Bardelli Jr. shown in the second There you go. We'll take a look at the Hondas versus the Chevys. Hey, there's only one guy in a Honda. The heck is going on?
Pit road will be
So
open.
Almeida first, Salviev second, Bardelli Jr. third coming out of the pits. Miller in fourth. Two guys out of the race there. Givaldo coming down pit lane here. So he's taking some service. So Givaldo in fifth position. So 2 caution flags. A lot of laps to go here. 31 laps in. 267 laps on the docket here tonight.
It'll be 1 to go this time by.
So we're getting to 1 to go. Bardelli Jr. starting up on the, actually going to be in the third position, it looks like, on the inside. Almeida, P1. Salviev starts in the outside line there. So they are doing double file starts here. Looks like somebody loaded the stock car rules plug-in with this today. Man, this race has been doomed from the beginning. But Michael Brooks is here, man. Good to see him out here tonight. So we'll be racing out on the track together here next week.
Green flag, green flag.
All right,
go,
back
go,
to
go.
green. Almeida gets off to a good start. Bardelli Jr. right behind him gets a good start on the inside. So Almeida right now, the class of the field. Good starts, good restarts. Take a look at Alexei Salviev here running in the 4th position. And a close in on Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller getting around Claudio Bardelli Jr. now up to the 2nd position. Bardelli Jr. back in 3rd. Take a look at that pass. That's Stephen Miller going down to the bottom side here. He has a lot of laps here at this track. Bardelli Jr., one of our stock car aficionados, running into 3rd position right now. Stephen Miller in 2nd. Salviev running in the 4th position. Take a look at him. He's looking ahead at P2, P3. He's closing in pretty quickly here, so keep your eye on this 18 car. Alexei Salviev. So a little bit tight there through the center of the turn, it looks like, is Alexei Salviev. Givaldo Spindola 1 lap down, running in the 5th position. So Ricardo Almeida has a 5.8 second lead, or 5.5 second lead over Stephen Miller. Bardelli Jr. shown in third, Salviev fourth, Spindola in fifth. Ricardo Almeida hard to beat in the IndyCars. Be kind of curious to see if he comes out and races GT3 Series with us. Generally where you want to be here is you do not want to get up out of the groove through this through the turns. You want to stay down on that bottom line. You come up out of that groove, especially off turn 2, and the back end can kick around, is what we saw with Alexander Meshkov. You come up out of that groove there, exit a little bit too high, and the car wants to break loose on you. There's a little bit of a rise on the exit of that turn, kind of a, not really a bump, but definitely a kind of a sudden elevation change. And it can kick out the back end of that car, but Almeida right now seems to be picking him up, putting him down in a hurry. 6.4 second lead over Stephen Miller. Take a look at Stephen Miller here running in P2. Getting a lot of laps here for him. And his Speed Details sponsored number 24 car. Hear him shifting through the turn, so he's going down to 4th and then coming up to 5th here. So he's shifting 5th. He doesn't even make it into 6th. Kind of curious to see how that engine handles that little extra torque there, or RPMs, I guess. Ricardo Almeida, they're getting by Givaldo. Givaldo now down 2 laps. See Ricardo actually getting into 6th gear, so his gearing is a little bit different right now than what Steven. So he's going down to 5th gear, coming down the front stretch, and then he shifts into 6th. So it's Steven, you saw him doing 4th and 5th. Some definitely different gearing in those 2 cars. And that's a little ironic here, or surprising, I should say, because those guys do a lot of practicing together too, so I'm assuming they share some information. 52 laps in, Ricardo Almeida the leader, Miller second, Bardelli Jr. third, Salviev fourth, Spindola in fifth. We'll take a look at Alexei Salviev running in the 4th position.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Got a yellow flag here. Salviev coming out off the turn there and smacking the wall after the yellow flag come out. Some word that maybe Stephen Miller might have come around. So it looks like Givaldo, and oh, Stephen right there, hard contact with the inside wall. That might be another spin there. We'll see what happened here to Stephen Miller. Just gets loose right there, and maybe anticipated Givaldo just in front of him, and he spins that car, gets into the wall. He's going to get a second spin here. You see trying to catch up to the end of the field here, and looks like he's got that okay. It looks like we had 2 spins there recorded from maybe just recorded it twice. Right there, man. He just, again, that exit. We saw where Meshkov had some trouble coming off turn 2. Again, watch this. He's closing in on Givaldo, gets into the wall, and really not that high of an exit, but it maybe just downshifted and broke those tires loose. He's in 4th. No, but he just loses it right there. And contact with the wall. Going back to live feed here as we have guys making pit stops. So we have some cars on pit lane.
Pit road will be open this time.
So bunching everybody back up. Spindler gets back on the lead lap here, so good news for him, I believe. Looks like he might be at the tail end, so he'll get to do a drive around here. So Almeida, the leader. Bardelli Jr. is second. Salviev third. Miller in fourth. Spindola in fifth. Spindle looked like he might be coming down pit lane here. That is what's happening there. Maybe, yeah, might be coming down pit lane here, it looks like, is Givaldo.
It'll be 1 to go this time.
So now we're getting to 1 to go. Bardelli Jr. going to start on the outside. Salviev in third. Miller in the fourth position. Spindola on pit lane taking some service. Then so he had some damage there. We saw him get into the wall just before Stephen Miller spun, so he's got some damage he's getting repaired. And that's going to put him back down a lap, at least. So getting ready to go back green here. Had a good little green flag run. We'd like to see some green flag pit stops tonight.
Green flag, go, go, go.
All right, back to green. See Almeida there jumping in front of Bardelli Jr. And off to the races for the 28 car. Battle for the second position heating up here. Is that Salviev down to the inside? A little squirrely there for him. On board here with Claudio Bardelli Jr. Salviev burning the right side up as he gets through the turn. That's not going to last very long. So you see the back end wanting to kick around there, so he needs to be very, very careful. That 13 car, that back end wanting to kick around. And that will cause you to lose control if you're not careful. Bardelli Jr. here now running in the third position. You see Salviev had opened up a little bit of a gap there on Bardelli Jr., but you see some smoke coming off that car. You know he's burning those right side tires off. See that right side tire, he's leaving down some rubber there, so that's not going to last too long. We'll continue to watch Alexei Salviev and that setup. Oh, and he makes contact right there. He makes contact with the outside wall, so some trouble there for Alexei Salviev in the 18 car. Take a look at Stephen Miller here now running in the third position. He'd gotten around Claudio Bardelli Jr. Take a look at this pass. Stephen Miller down to the inside. Bardelli Jr. up on the outside line. So, oh, man, that got a little froggy right there. That got tight. Steven Miller, man, I had to be thinking he was a little scared. I would imagine as a Bardelli Jr. looked like he was climbing down the track there. Oh, got a little crazy. It's Steven Miller taking over P2. Ricardo Almeida getting some word. He might have had some trouble here. He climbs up the track. Oh, he smacks the wall. No caution flag. No caution flag flying here. What in the world? How does Almeida hit the wall like that, spin, and no caution flag comes out? Salviev had to be thinking, what the heck? Who is that on the inside? That's our race leader. Take a look. Almeida just climbed up the track. Watch this. This car just climbs up the track. He smacks the wall right here. Cannot get that car to turn. And then inside wall, and no caution flag comes out. What in the world is going on here? Salviev to the race lead. Almeida now climbing back to second. He's closing back in. He's got damage, but I think Salviev's got damage as well. Salviev continuing to fire up those right side tires. 71 laps in. Oh, man, more contact with the wall. Got to loosen that car up, man. That thing is tight. Almeida there trying to climb back as he's closing in on Salviev. Salviev just burning the right sides off, and he keeps smacking the wall right there. I did a lot of laps here during the week, and I didn't feel like I had any problems with the setup that I was using. These guys might be pushing it just a little bit hard. I think they probably want to back up the turns just a little bit as Almeida now back to the lead. How about that, man? You spin. This just shows you how dominant he is. I mean, he spins, smacks the wall. Of course, the other guys have damage too. It ends up coming back to the race lead. Steven Miller running in P3. He's kind of slowed down his pace here a little bit just to kind of be a little bit more conservative. He's 2.5 seconds down to the race leader. Claudio Bardelli Jr. running in P4. 3.7 seconds back. And these guys both closing in on Alexei Salviev. How about that, TurnLeftTV? Bardelli Jr. here in this 19 car, and this Honda closing in on Steven Miller. Both those guys closing in on Salviev. So what Almeida wants is he wants to win this race. Of course, he's got the championship locked up, but what a better way to finish up the championship with a win at Richmond. Steven Miller now up to the second position as Salviev. See Steven Miller making this pass on Salviev, who keeps smacking the wall right there. Salviev there trying to dive down and hold on to that spot, but Bardelli Jr. having nothing of it. Bardelli Jr. down to the inside. Going to take over P3 as Salviev now back to P4. So Ricardo, the race leader. Looks like Bardelli Jr. has taken over P2. There's Stephen Miller giving him a lot of room, and that's courteous racing right there. Stephen realized that Bardelli Jr. was a little bit faster. He went up to the high side and let Bardelli Jr. go by. And those are the type of things that get repaid to you right there. Stephen letting Bardelli Jr. go, and Bardelli Jr. is the kind of guy that's going to remember that and let him have that spot the next time if he comes up. Kind of see where those guys are, P2, P3. Pretty close together right there. Ricardo Almeida there closing in on our 5th place car. Gosh, what I got to cycle through this every time. There we go. There's Givaldo Spindola just ahead, running in the 5th position. He's 3 laps down as Almeida looking to put him 4 laps down now. So Almeida the inside and getting around Givaldo Spindola. Now closing in on P4. Salviev. Salviev in the 4th position, still continuing to push that car as you see the race leader just behind him. Trying to put him a lap down. He doesn't want to go a lap down, but see Almeida shooting up the track. Salviev almost spins. He goes down to the bottom line here. Almost spins coming off the turn. So 92 laps in, 93 laps in. Ricardo Almeida leader. Bardelli Jr. in 2nd. Miller in 3rd. 1 lap down is Alexei Salviev. Givaldo Spindola is 3 laps down. Meshkov, Zaglotko both out of the race with some damage. Zaglotko, I think he got penalized because he passed everybody at the start, came all the way around and was leading by a whole lap at the start. So take a look at Bardelli Jr. here as he gets around. He gets around Salviev. So Bardelli Jr. running in P2. Salviev, I believe, is coming down pit lane. So Salviev on pit lane here in the 4 car. Back up here with Almeida. Salviev pitting. These pit stops go by in a hurry. But he's had some pretty significant damage tonight, so he's hit the wall a number of times, so he's probably going to be on pit lane for a little bit. Take a look at our side-by-side here. As you see Salviev's car smoking. Ricardo Almeida continuing to lead. Alexei Salviev's car is on fire right now. He's got to have an engine turned off. As much damage as he's gotten, he's got to be extended repairs, and he's got that car running, and that engine's going to overheat. And he's going to end up blowing that engine. That's the problem. He's got to turn that car off, so you got to map a button there to shut your ignition off. And Salviev is on pit lane, and he is on fire. Take a look at Salviev here. His car is on fire. Man, let me get the camera out of the way. Now that's on fire. That car is on fire right there. Get out, man. Get out of the car. Help that guy out. Come on, Alexei. We want you in the GT3 series. Throw some water on it. Pee on it. So Alexei says, hey man, if I can't win this race, I'm just going to burn up in my car trying. It's been nice knowing you, Alexei. So Ricardo Almeida, the leader, he's on fire, but he's on another kind of fire, isn't he? 7-second lead over Claudio Bardelli Jr. Salviev's retired his machine, so he blew that car up. Got 4 drivers left in the race. A lot of laps to go. Stephen Miller in third. Givaldo Spindola in the 4th position. Take a look at Claudio Bardelli Jr. here in the 19 car running in P2. About 7.5 seconds down. Stephen Miller running in third. Spindola 4 laps down in the 4th position. It's going to help Givaldo out, actually, man. Not a lot of drivers out, but he's in a top 10 coming into tonight's race. So just keeps plugging away. And good top 10 season here for him, and he's a guaranteed top 10. So it's going to be great to see Givaldo in that top 10 to finish out this season. Stephen Miller here running in the 3rd position, 16.5 seconds down-ish. It's like Givaldo pretty tight right there with Bardelli Jr. Now Givaldo in 4th position, 5 laps down. Bardelli Jr. running in P2. Bardelli Jr. is just about 7.5 seconds down, so he's really sort of maintained that pace. Now Almeida, I would argue, probably isn't really pushing that car too much. Certainly would like to get the race win, but He is guaranteed the championship. Oh, he smacks the wall there. Almeida comes off the turn and smacks the wall, so he scrubbed off a little bit of speed there. 6.2 second now. Second gap between him and Bardelli Jr. So Bardelli Jr. starting to close in here a little bit on Ricardo Almeida. On Ricardo. Get the stream up here and see if we can't figure out Michael's issue. So Ricardo getting around Givaldo now, 6 laps down. Claudio Bardelli Jr. is closing in here. He's 4.2 seconds back. And this would be a huge win for him. But it seems like, maybe Ricardo has got a little bit of damage. He did see him get into the wall a little bit. Maybe he's used up those tires too. So Bardelli Jr., whatever the case may be, whatever the reason may be, he is closing in 4 seconds back now. So, Bardelli Jr. might be kind of saving his stuff a little bit. We're going to see, I think, as if things keep going the way they are, some green flag pit stops here. On board with Claudio Bardelli Jr. here running in the second position. Stephen Miller is in third. So Bardelli Jr. looking to close in on Ricardo Almeida. Been keeping that about, for the last couple laps there, about 4 seconds or so. This guy got a big win in the Saturday Night Thunder a few weeks ago at, I believe it was at Iowa. So a big win for Bardelli Jr. in the stock cars. See if he can't put one away here in the IndyCars and give us another winner. MJ Almeida says, I love my husband's devotion to racing. Very proud. That's awesome. Good to have a wife that supports your hobby. I'm sure he supports the wife's hobbies as well. Maybe racing. Get a husband and wife team of racers. That'd be great. Can't get mad if he beats you, and he can't get mad if you beat him. So now 2.3 seconds here. Ricardo's lead has diminished. Cut in half here in the last about 10 laps or so. He might be saving his stuff here for the long haul, but 140 laps in. A little over halfway, and Ricardo is leading about 2 seconds on Bardelli Jr. Stephen Miller about 14 seconds back in the third position. So Bardelli Jr. now closing in here on Almeida. Run him down from about 7 seconds back. Now a little bit of traffic there for Almeida. That's going to help. Oh, man. Oh, that got crazy right there. Ricardo Almeida goes to the high side, and Bardelli Jr. slips through, splits the difference, and makes that pass. That was a gangster move. That was a gangster move right there by Claudio Bardelli Jr. Wow. Big time move by Bardelli Jr. there. Well, let's take a look at that pass. Bardelli Jr. says, heck with it, man. I'm going to split the difference. Right down the middle there. As Givaldo Spindola goes to the bottom side. Almeida went up to the high side, and Bardelli Jr. gets through. Wow, big time move. So new race leader here is Claudio Bardelli Jr. Ricardo Almeida about 1.5, almost 2 seconds back in the second position. Stephen Miller in third. Now Stephen Miller, he's closing in on these guys too. He's about 10 seconds back. He was around 14 seconds or so a little while ago. Of course, they've had a little bit of traffic there with getting through Givaldo and Ricardo. Ricardo Almeida indicating he's going to be coming down pit lane. So Almeida making a pit stop here. You got to be very careful not to speed. 45 miles per hour. So Ricardo on pit lane here on lap 154. Bardelli Jr. is the leader. Stephen Miller in second. Almeida is third. Spindola in fourth. So now I got to be wondering, when's Claudio coming down pit lane? Stephen Miller about 11.5 seconds back in the second position. And he's been really doing that fourth, fifth. So he didn't even shift that time, stayed in fourth. See Almeida there a little bit warm. Coming off pit lane, a little smoke coming out of the back of Almeida's machine as he exits the pits. So the 28 back out on track. Now he's on fresh tires. Now you got to wonder what's Claudio Bardelli Jr. going to do here. I think you're, what I'm getting is that the pit window is somewhere around 110 laps, so I think Ricardo Almeida probably has enough to make it the rest of the way. And now Bardelli Jr., given that, is just in a situation where he might be giving up some pretty valuable time here. He's on the older tires now, and Almeida is just going to start closing in, clicking off some time. And that may spell bad news for Claudio Bardelli Jr. Bardelli Jr. does not seem like he wants to come down pit lane anytime soon. Pretty solid effort here so far for him. Been very, very quiet. See him come around. Here is Ricardo Almeida. 2 laps down. He wants to get, right there. Givaldo's smacking the wall coming off the turn. Here comes Stephen Miller. So what I'm saying is if you really think about what's going on, right there is Ricardo Almeida just behind. Now Ricardo is technically 2 laps down, actually 1 lap down, I should say, as he looks to maybe get another lap back. So Almeida now 1 lap down, I should say. Stephen Miller indicating he's going to be coming down pit lane here, so it looks like he's on pit lane. So Stephen Miller taking some service here. Coming down pit lane is Stephen Miller. So that Speed Detail sponsor machine on pit lane. So got to really wonder, Claudio Bardelli Jr., the longer he stays out, the less amount of time he has to make those fresh tires that he's inevitably going to get to work for him. Right now, oh man, that got a little dicey right there as Stephen Miller came back off pit lane, but Ricardo almost got into Givaldo Spindola. Stephen Miller shown in the 3rd position as Ricardo is in 2nd. Ricardo now getting by Stephen Miller on the inside. So again, the point I'm trying to make here is really with what's going on with Claudio Bardelli Jr. He's really hanging out here on the track for a long time. See P2, P3. About a straightaway in front of him. And what is happening is P2, Ricardo Almeida, has already made, I think, his final pit stop. Claudio Bardelli Jr. is now just giving up time. He's on older tires, and when he comes in, he's not going to have enough time, I think, to make these fresh tires that he's going to get work for him. So Almeida is clicking off faster and faster lap times. Bardelli Jr. indicating he is coming down pit lane this time. So you kind of look at that. Ricardo Almeida is still considered 1 lap down. So now Bardelli Jr. on pit lane. So now all eyes on Ricardo Almeida as Bardelli Jr. makes a pit stop. Bardelli Jr. finishing up that pit stop, coming back out. So now in P2, and he has got a lot of work to do. 176 laps in. Does he have enough time to be able to make those tires work for him? Seven seconds behind the leader. Givaldo Spindola indicating he's coming down pit lane. So we take a look at Givaldo in the 83 car making his final pit stop. Assuming we go green, so we got some green flag pit stops in the book. So what, 10-second gap there on Bardelli Jr. Does he have enough time to try to cut into that lead? And I would imagine Ricardo is going to drive this setup, this stint, a lot harder here just to give himself some comfort, give himself some cushion, just in case Bardelli Jr. starts a charge. 10.7 seconds, so the leader is pulling away from P2. Stephen Miller shown in third, 1 lap down. Givaldo Spindola is 10 laps down in the 4th position. 3 guys out of the race. Getting some word earlier that there's a 24-hour race at Nürburgring this weekend, so a lot of drivers are participating in that, doing their stints. A lot of work there in coordination with those teams competing in that that endurance series race, 24 hours of Nürburgring. Take a look at Stephen Miller here running in the 3rd position. Right now, 1 lap down. Right now hanging with Ricardo Almeida. So not pushing that car too hard. No sense in really risking wrecking here when you got a good top 3 going on. Take a look at Givaldo Spindola here running in the 4th position. The leader's coming up behind him. Now he just came off pit lane, but this car has gotten boogered up a little bit, a couple of times, contact with the wall, so I don't think he has quite the setup. And he's certainly got some damage on that machine that he's going to be dealing with here the rest of this race. And he has been dealing with since fairly early there. He's going to give these guys a lot of room. See Almeida on board here with him as he's closing in on Givaldo. Again, really no reason to push your car that hard at this point to get a fairly solid lead. Although we're looking at 11.8 seconds. That lead has not diminished here in the last few laps, so holding on to that as Bardelli Jr. running in P2. Again, Bardelli Jr. here, he's not been able to make use of those new tires to close in on Ricardo Almeida. In fact, Almeida continuing to widen that gap. Almost, you're looking at about a half a lap here between the two of them. So a little less than half a lap here, judging from where the 1 and the 2 are there on the track map. So he's got a little help there, a little drafting help with a 3 car. The 2 kind of out there by himself, or the second place car, Claudio Bardelli Jr., the 91, kind of out there by himself right now. I should say the 19 car runs a 91 in the stock cars. Flipping the script here in the Indy cars. Approaching lap 200, scheduled to go 267. Some green flag pit stops. I think we're seeing we saw our final pit stop of the evening here by the front runners. Stephen Miller a little bit faster here than Ricardo right now. Boy, I got to cycle through 15 camera angles there as Stephen Miller getting by Ricardo Almeida. So Stephen Miller here in third. Now back on the lead lap. Exactly where he wants to be. The race leader just out behind him. Looking out of the back of Stephen Miller's machine, the race leader, Ricardo Almeida. Points leader, race leader. Already solidified the points championship. Has that in the bag. Wants to come away with a victory to put the cherry on top of the season. The icing on the cake. The whipped cream on the, I don't know, pie. Givaldo Spindola indicating he's coming down pit lane here. So remember, he pitted earlier. So Givaldo making a pit stop. So Givaldo late race pit stop for the 83 car. Here on lap 208. So it looks like Givaldo's retired his machine, I believe. Maybe not. No, that was Alexi. He's in the chat session. There we go. Givaldo Spindola finishing up his pit stop. Man, I'm a hot mess right now. Hot mess. Sometimes I got to figure out whether I want to do this or give this up. Bardelli Jr. is starting to close in here, but it might be a little bit too little too late. 10.6 seconds now. It was up to about 12 seconds. So he is starting to close in, but man, it's starting to get pretty late in the game here. 212 laps in, and just now starting to close in. That's what I was saying, is that, you know, I really think that that Claudio might have stayed out a little bit too long. I really do. I think you know, he captured the lead, and when Ricardo came down pit lane, I think maybe 3, 4, 5 laps, no more than about 5 laps after that, I would have pitted the car as well. But, you know, everybody's got their own strategies. He is closing in, but he is running out of time in a hurry. And we'll go look at this this battle here as that time between Ricardo Almeida and Claudio Bardelli Jr. So under 10 seconds here, but again, does he have enough time to be able to click off the time he needs and close in on Ricardo Almeida and make a race of this? This would be a huge win for Claudio Bardelli Jr. if he's able to do that. Michael Brooks pointing out that there's a lot of time left here, a lot of laps left. Bardelli Jr., a very cagey driver too. So a chess match. Not exactly I think how I would play the chess pieces, but hey, Bardelli Jr. might have something up his sleeve here. Like I said, he races a lot of laps, a lot of different types of racing, and he might have something worked out. He does a lot of stock car racing, ovals, and might have something worked out with that pit strategy. And hey, how could you go wrong with the TurnLeftTV sponsor machine? Take a look at that Stephen Miller here running in the 3rd position. He's 18 seconds back to the race leader. So he's fairly close to going down a lap here, as he had fought so hard to get back on the lead lap here. We'll take a look at track map and see where he is. So Ricardo has Givaldo Spindola just in front of him, and that's going to slow him up a little bit, because I think Givaldo's a little bit off the pace. And Stephen Miller shown in the 3rd position, now entering turn 1. Coming off from turn 1 down the backstretch. Ricardo now coming off turn 2, now entering turn 3 there. So again, Almeida has that, and he was down below that line there on the apron almost. So on board here with our race leader, 28 car Ricardo Almeida, with 224 laps in the books, scheduled to go 267. Does he have what it takes to be able to? So he's starting to pick it up here a little bit. Close in on Givaldo and put him another lap down. He goes down on the bottom side. Givaldo giving him a lot of room. 2.2 second gap. Looking out of the back of Ricardo Almeida's machine at Givaldo is just behind, but Claudio Bardelli Jr. now going around Givaldo. Clear track ahead for Claudio Bardelli Jr. Can he come in and take this one away from Ricardo Almeida? Almeida's got the championship. Bardelli Jr. wants a race win. Wants to be our 4th winner of the season. Should say 5th winner of the season. As Bardelli Jr. closing in on our race leader, Ricardo Almeida. And as fast as Bardelli Jr. has caught up to Almeida, I don't know if he has anything, if Almeida has anything to hold him off. This is going to get interesting here. This is a battle for the race lead here on lap 229. Ricardo Almeida, P1, Claudio Bardelli Jr. in 2nd. Bardelli Jr. has to be thinking, no mistakes, man. Don't hit the wall. Don't overdrive this thing here. It'll come to you. Almeida not going to race him dirty. He's going to give him the room. If he's faster, he's going to let him have it. Going to make him earn it. Almeida slamming the door on that lap. Looking out of the back of Ricardo Almeida's machine. Claudio Bardelli Jr. looking like he wants to get by on the low side. Look at that. Big time run there on the outside line. Claudio Bardelli Jr. taking a peek. Bardelli Jr. looked like he was going to fire up that outside line and backed off. Now sticking it up there on the outside line. Claudio Bardelli Jr. has they're wheel to wheel. They touch. Wheel to wheel right there. Coming off the turn. Coming off turn 4. They got together. Bardelli Jr. trying to hit the reset button and get after it again. On board here with Claudio Bardelli Jr. as he's trying that outside line again. Now he's going to do the crossover move. Bardelli Jr. does the crossover down to the inside line. He might have position now. Side by side. Almeida has to get out of the gas. Oh, Almeida up in the wall right there. He missed the turn. He missed his spot there and got up in the wall, and Bardelli Jr. now takes off. Huge pass there on lap 237. Oh, my heavens. Let's take a look at that. That pass there as Bardelli Jr. gets by. He had to work for it, got by on the low side, and then Almeida goes up into the wall and hits the wall. Take a look at Ricardo Almeida on board here with him as he made Bardelli Jr. earn it, but he got up out of the groove and smacks the wall right there. And that might have been a race-winning move by Claudio Bardelli Jr. As Bardelli Jr. now starting to run away from it. 5-second lead over Ricardo Almeida. Keep that car pointed in the right direction. Keep it out of the wall. And you might have this race win. How about that, man? TurnLeftTV sponsor machine too. I'm not rooting for anybody over anybody else, I'll be honest with you. Okay. Ricardo Almeida here now in P2. He's not panicking. He knows he has this championships wrapped up, so that's the bigger prize for him. But Claudio Bardelli Jr. gets around it. Now our race leader here on lap 243. We take a look at Stephen Miller here running in the third position. He's starting to close in a little bit on Ricardo Almeida. So Ricardo, with that contact with the wall, may end up hurting him, and he might end up being P3. As Stephen Miller plugging away here, closing in on Ricardo Almeida. You see, really eating him up there in the turns. No panicking here. as Stephen Miller taking that spot. Ricardo up high there now in P3. Stephen Miller now in the second position. So Claudio Bardelli Jr. continuing to open that gap on Stephen Miller and Ricardo Almeida. Here at the short track, we got about 20 laps to go, about 22 laps to go. Here in the High Octane Racing League IndyCar. No idea on fuel. Guys are asking about that. Does Stephen have enough fuel to the end? And I don't know. I think he probably does. The word that I was getting, you get about 110 laps here on tires. I could probably go a little bit further on fuel, but the tires really give up more quickly than the fuel does, than the fuel runs out. So I think as long as he preserves his line and doesn't eat up these tires too bad, he's going to end up making it the rest of the way. We'll see. We've had 2 rounds of green flag pit stops. This is exactly the type of stuff we wanted to see all season long, and we're seeing it today here at Richmond. Take a look at Givaldo Spindle and letting Ricardo Almeida go. And Givaldo keeps plugging away here. He's going to get a 4th place finish. Running in 4th right now as Ricardo Almeida gets by, puts him another lap down. He's 16 laps down now. He's had a tough night there with a couple bouts of damage or getting into the wall. So Claudio Bardelli Jr. here on lap 253 is our leader. Stephen Miller in 2nd. Ricardo Almeida is in 3rd. So Claudio getting a lot of room there from Givaldo. Those guys do a lot of laps together. A couple of the Brazilian brothers there. Bardelli Jr. here getting ready to put a lap on Ricardo Almeida. So Almeida gives him a lot of room. And again, that right there is just racing savvy. Almeida realizes that he is not faster. He's now getting ready to go down a lap and doesn't panic, just doesn't block and lets Claudio Bardelli Jr. have that spot. But Almeida is having a lot of trouble right now late in this run, keeping that car down through the turn. He's running in P3, and he's really having a rough time trying to hold that car down coming off the turn. He's really scrubbing off a lot of speed to keep that car pulled in the right direction and out of the wall. So Bardelli Jr. the leader. Miller in 2nd. Almeida is in 3rd. Spindle in the 4th position. I'll be honest, man, I really question Claudio's pit strategy in pitting late. I kept thinking that, man, he's really given up so much time. He's not going to have enough time to be able to make those tires work. But Almeida, his tires really gave up, I guess, more quickly than what I expected them to. And Claudio was able to close in. And I mean, we're talking about 15, 20 laps ago, really cut off some time in a hurry, a big chunk of time. And, he's really not opening up much of a gap there on Stephen Miller. I mean, it's stayed pretty consistent there, 11, 12 seconds for the last quite a number of laps. So Stephen is a little bit slower, but not that much. So And staying in about that 11.5, 12 second range. But that's all Claudio Bardelli needs, really, with just this few laps to go. Claudio is just kind of saving his stuff here a little bit. He's not going to push it. And he's got this thing wrapped up here. You hear him downshifting going into the turn. And he is giving up a little bit of time to Stephen Miller, but Stephen Miller simply does not have enough time, enough laps to be able to close in here and make a run at it. So Claudio Bardelli Jr., late race pass here on Ricardo Almeida for the race lead, and he stepped on the gas and ran away from the field. So here you are, Claudio Bardelli Jr. getting around Stephen Miller, now lapping Stephen Miller, I believe. Actually, that was, looks like Givaldo. See that battle right there as Stephen Miller gets by. So we got across the start finish line. We're going to have one lap to go. And Claudio Bardelli Jr. on his way to victory here in the High Octane Racing League IndyCar Series at Richmond. So Bardelli Jr. gets one win in that Stock Car Series a couple weeks ago and now can't get it out of his system, and he gets the race win here at Richmond. So congratulations to Claudio Bardelli Jr. Big time win. So Claudio Bardelli Jr. gets the win, and he's not even going to do a burnout? Oh, there we go. Burnout right into the wall, so hopefully somebody's going to be able to extract him from the car. Ricardo Almeida wins the championship. Congratulations to Ricardo Almeida. So we'll look at the final results here. Claudio Bardelli Jr. finishes in P1. Stephen Miller finishes in second. Ricardo Almeida finishes in the third position. Givaldo Spindola finishes in fourth. Alexei Salvia finishes in the fifth position. Alexander Meshkov sixth. Eugene Zagladko finishes in the seventh position. So congratulations to Claudio Bardelli Jr. for getting the win here at Richmond. So we'll see if we can't get Jair's giving me a little of Jair's giving me a little bit of grief here. It says Portuguese interview. I can say like 6 words in Portuguese. I'm gonna have to download a translator and learn how to speak Portuguese. congratulations to Claudio Bardelli Jr. on the race win here. I sent him a message here to see if he can interview, and we'll see what he responds with. So still working on Bardelli Jr. We'll go ahead and see if we can't get Ricardo Almeida, get that interview done with him, talk about the season for him. All right, here we'll see if we can't get Claudio up here. He said he's going to give his interview. That's all right. He can speak in Portuguese. Boa noite, Claudio. Parabéns.
Boa noite. Good evening. Thank you.
Great run with the pit stop strategy. Great job. Talk about what was going through your mind as you made a later pit stop than Ricardo did. Did you? I just assumed that you didn't panic.
Try to talk slow, but my English is very bad. Okay.
That's better than my Portuguese. Tons better.
No problem. And the race, the strategy of the race in this track is tires. Is very sorry, viu? but I try to conserve my tires durante in the race. I wait. Ricardo got a problem to tires. I tried to win one chance. I did. I passed you. Sorry, Heath. My English is very, very bad.
No, I understand it perfectly. Good job. Congratulations, Claudio. You got a win in the Stock Car Series in the Saturday Night Thunder a few weeks ago, and now here in the IndyCar Series at Richmond. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rich. I talk to words in Portuguese, no problem.
Yeah. Definitely.
Agradecer aí o pessoal, Givaldo, Peixoto, Jair, o pessoal da NASCAR BR que estava lá. Agradecer a esposa aqui também. Valeu, gente. Terminamos a Indy aí. E obrigado aí o pessoal da HORL. Thank to HORL to races in weekend.
Parabéns, Claudio, and I'm assuming we're going to see you out here in a little while in the Saturday Night Thunder as well.
Thank you. And congrats, Ricardo, for the chant.
All right. Hey, good to see the TurnLeftTV car in victory lane. You're my new favorite driver, bro. My new favorite driver is Claudio Bardelli Jr.
This chant is Victor, one Victor.
All right, man. Hey, congratulations. Parabéns.
Thank you. Obrigado.
All right, that's Claudio Bardelli Jr. here joining us up in the booth. Hey, he did a fantastic job there, man. Not only on the track, but speaking the English and then translating, doing some Portuguese as well. So excellent job for Claudio Bardelli Jr. And we'll see if we can't get Ricardo Almeida up here in the booth with us. So Ricardo Almeida finishes in with the championship, and we'll get him up here in the booth. All right. Hey, thank you, Ricardo, for being patient. We had to get the interview from the race winner. And, man, I tell you, that was a challenging track, but a lot of fun. We finally got those green flag pit stops that we were looking for.
Yeah, unfortunately, it happens when I did a mistake. Tried to conserving some fuel, and I changed my driving style. So instead of shifting, I was staying in 6th gear, which the cars pushed me to the wall, and I spun because of that. And that kills my strategy, because car was killed, tires are finished, so I have to pit earlier. Since I was 2 laps down, I don't want to be stuck at 2 laps down. I want to be at least 1 lap down, because Lucky Dog works for a special reason, and I don't want to be stuck for 2 laps down. So I push, but I know if I push too much, I will pay the price at the end of the race, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, with the green flag pit stops, it really does throw that extra strategy in there too, where we've had throughout this entire season, we've had these caution-filled races, so it kind of throws some of that strategy out the door. So it was sort of being, even though you were kind of on the the business end of that, or the losing end of that situation, at least you got some green flag pit stops in, and made that race a little bit more interesting, I think.
It is, definitely. But it's very hard to make a good strategy at the beginning of the race, because you never know if it's going to be a lot of yellow flags or a long stints like today, or like last weekend, which is come like with 15 laps to go, the last yellow, and we running like full economy last weekend. And no, today it's completely my fault, and congratulations, Claudio, well deserved.
Yeah, I think as the season went on, we got a little bit better at dealing with driving in traffic. Things got a little bit more, I don't know if you want to say realistic, but we weren't having these massively caution-filled races. You came away with 5 wins this season. Another dominant performance for you here in the High Octane Racing League IndyCar Series. What is it about IndyCars that just, you just seem to be a perfect fit for them?
I really love the IndyCars. At the beginning, I loved the mix with ovals and road course. But ovals, it's always like close racing, and if everybody's respectful, it makes very good races. But sometimes I understand nobody has like a VR or 3 screens like myself, so it's hard to run like close racing on oval. But IndyCars, like, that's the potential which you can do it on ovals and road courses. It's short ovals, big ovals, like it makes good races, I believe. And it was making very close racing. Like last race, we are 4 or 5 for the first place, and we are bumper to bumper, if we can say that. So I really love that.
Well, congratulations, another championship for you. I think that it probably would have been a unanimous pick if guys at the beginning of the season had to pencil in who they thought was going to win the championship, and me included. So you did not disappoint. You came out with the 5 wins this season, and you had a little bit of a challenge there later in the season with Dan Richter and Meshkov won a race too. He's always a factor. So that made things a little bit more interesting, I think, for this season.
Yes. Well, thing is, this season I didn't practice as I'm supposed to practice as usual, because there's a lot of things in my life. So it's like next time it will be better.
It looks like you got a big fan in the chat session here. MJ Almeida says, "I'm proud of you. You did it again. Proud wife. You rock. Congratulations." How about that?
Yeah, she's my fan number 1.
She even offered to maybe do the interview in Portuguese and English, I think.
Oh, she can do it. She can do it. I can help a little bit, but since the Brazilian accent, my Portuguese was okay, not bad, but just okay. But with the Brazilian accent, it will be hard. But at least I can help.
Well, hey, thanks, man. Congratulations, and we hope to see you back in the championship form again very, very soon.
Hey, I'm just waiting you to put another one in place.
Thanks for supporting High Octane Racing League too, by the way.
No problem, and very good choice of the tracks you choose this year. Very funny.
All right, man. Take care, and thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that's Ricardo Almeida here joining us up in the booth. Another championship for him. So clicking those championships off just as fast as it clicks wins off. And our 2021 season number 1 champion is Ricardo Almeida here in the IndyCar Series. Fantastic run for him. 5 wins, a dominant performance for Ricardo Almeida. He had his work cut out for him late in the season, but I tell you what, he capitalized whenever he could. So congratulations to him. Well, we got some more racing headed your way a little bit later here. Pocono Raceway coming up in the High Octane Racing League Saturday Night Thunder. It's the final race of the season. Pocono, 80 laps at the Tricky Triangle in the stock cars. If you're interested in racing with us, come on out and join us here at in the Saturday Night Thunder. The Discord address is there on the banner. You're more than welcome to come out and do some racing with us. We got the car set ready to go, and you don't have to worry about porting in a skin. So come on out and join us. We have a good time here. Open setups, 1X tires, 1X fuel, 60% damage. Talk about some of the racing coming up. Tomorrow, we got the preseason race, Zandvoort in the High Octane Racing League GT3 Series. So 50-minute race coming up on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Practice starts at 1 p.m., and this should be a fun one. This is going to be the GP, the 2020 version of the track, the GP layout, and it should be fun. Zandvoort is a great track, so a lot of fun there. Some bank turns, some elevation changes, just a lot of mix here hitting you in the face with Zandvoort. And that is really the preseason race to kick off the full Monty, which is the official season. And that's not it. It's not Laguna Seca here. Let me get the the new banner. There we go. Monza coming up your way on to kick off the season, the High Octane Racing League GT3 Series, starting on July the 3rd. 50-minute race from Monza, great track. And we'll take a look at the schedule headed your way in the GT3 Series. Lime Rock, second race of the season. Okayama, very interesting track there for the GT3 cars. Daytona Night, man, that'll be a popular one. Road Atlanta in the rain. Watkins Glen, the short with the chicane. Hockenheimring. on 21 August headed your way, and then Spa to finish out the season. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the IndyCar Series High Octane Racing League. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to get out of here and get something to eat and take the dog for a walk. I'm out of here.